Hi guys, Eric Cressey at Cressey Performance just west of Boston. I want to take you through 4 drills that we'll use for overall shoulder health. And it's important to remember that no 2 shoulders are alike, so we need to make sure that we pick somewhat conservative exercises so that they're a good fit for just about everybody. What you're going to notice with our exercises for the shoulder is that we tend to work proximal to distal, which is just a fancy way of saying that we start in the middle and we work our way out. So all these exercises kind of begin with setting the core and building some upper back mobility before we go to the wall and work on where our shoulder blade is positioned and how our rotator cuff works. So Mike's going to demonstrate these for us. We're going to start off with something called the sideline windmill. When Mike sets it up, you'll notice that he's got this med ball here. You can use a foam roller or whatever it may be just to prop him in place so that he's in a neutral spine position. He's not all rotated to begin with. What we're going to do is we're going to use this top hand to kind of guide our upper back mobility. So go ahead. He's going to follow his hand with his eyes as he moves around, where all the range of motion is really coming from that upper back, and then he's reaching back through. Some of you may actually be able to get your hand all the way to the ground. Some may actually need to cut it a little bit short. The important thing to note as he goes through this is that it's not just the shoulder that's moving. Instead, it's that whole upper back that is creating the range of motion. So don't just throw a bunch of stress on the shoulder by hanging out here. Okay? Very important to follow the hand with the eyes. We usually do a set of 6 to 8 reps per side. We'll stand right up. So that's a sideline windmill. We're going to go up to the wall. We're going to do something called a back to wall shoulder flexion. And I like this because it forces you to set your core in the right position before you learn to go overhead. This is also a great exercise that you can use as somewhat of a clearing test to make sure that you're fundamentally able to overhead press in a safe way. So first thing Mike's going to do is set his feet up about 6 inches away from the wall and get right in here and flatten his back out. Okay? After he's flattened out the back, he's going to try to get the head to the wall while making a double chin. So he's pretty much a straight line from his hips all the way up to his head. What we're going to do from here is he's going to gradually start going up with his hands, noticing how he's staying out in front, not deviating to the side too much. What we're going to do is we're going to take our thumbs to the wall, and then we're going to exhale and let our ribs kind of come down a little bit. Okay? So this is a back to wall shoulder flexion, staying flat here, getting to the wall. What you're going to notice is some of you may be really tight here, or you may have posture that sets you here. There are a couple things that you can do to work around that. One, you can walk the feet a little bit further to make it easier for you to kind of create that flat back posture. So, and the second one is if you just find yourself getting a little bit locked here, you can kind of make it a little bit easier for yourself just by bending your elbows to get your thumbs to the wall, and then over time we'll gradually work to the point where we can do it with a straight arm. What's very, very important though is that if you wind up having any neck pain, you have any pinching in the front, things like that, don't plow through it. Work within the comfortable range of motion that you have. Okay, so that's back to wall shoulder flexion. Usually do it for a set of 6 to 8. Okay, face towards the wall. Okay, you notice Mike's in a staggered stance. We like to go right leg forward. He's in what we call a neutral spine position. He's not in a big forward head posture. It's a nice straight line from the hips all the way up to the head. He's got a little double chin going here. We're not too arched at our lower back. What we're going to do is we're going to come up to a 135-degree angle with our arms. So as he comes up, you'll see the angle that his arms create to his spine is about 135 degrees. Once we get to that top position, all he's going to do is he's going to kind of tip those shoulder blades back, and then his hands come back to the wall, and then he slowly comes back down. Notice it's not this as he comes back down. He maintains good posture, comes up, leads with the thumbs, and lifts off with the shoulder blades. He's not just pulling through the arms. Instead, it's the scapula, the shoulder blades that are moving on a fixed rib cage and spine. Okay, so that's forearm wall slides at 135 degrees. We do that again for a set of 6 to 8. This is all part of our warm-up. Last one is a low-level cuff activation. We call it external rotations to wall. This is great because it doesn't require a band, doesn't require a cable column, anything like that, and it's a good way to monitor your feedback on a fixed core. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up just like we were doing the back to wall shoulder flexion, but what we're going to have Mike do is kind of line up about 15 degrees off the wall. So he's a straight line, head to hips, neutral spine, good rib cage positioning, good scapular positioning. From there, he's going to take his non-working hand and he's going to place it right at the front of the shoulder. Okay? He's not pushing that shoulder back. Instead, all he's doing is monitoring where that ball is in the socket. And what he's going to do is he's going to slowly externally rotate back and try to touch his hand to the wall. Okay? And not everybody will be able to get all the way back, and you'll notice he needs to bend his wrist a little bit to get there. But the important thing is that he feels it in the back of his shoulder here, and that this isn't popping forward. So it's very important for shoulder health that we learn how to maintain the ball in the socket. And as we externally rotate, there's a tendency for this to want to come forward. So he's using this hand just to monitor where he goes, He's going to come back, push against the wall for a second if he can do it, and then he's going to relax. What I don't want to see you doing is pulling that elbow really far back against the wall, because that'll make everything tip forward. Okay? So we call it external rotations to wall. So to recap, side lying windmill, back to wall shoulder flexion, wall slides at 135 degrees, and then external rotations to wall. It's a quick and easy, 3-minute warm-up you can do before a training session to get your shoulders grooving the way they need to.